I'm Roman Yossi of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Matt Duchesne of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Justus Aros of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Ryan Johansson of the Nashville Predators.
You're listening to the Renegades of Puck
with Crazy Charlie.
Welcome to the bunker. Welcome to the Renegades of Puck podcast. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier. And before we get started on the No Half Step in Hockey coverage, let me direct you to our home website, renegadesofpuck.com. Once you go to renegadesofpuck.com, you'll learn everything you need to know about the show. And once you're good and educated about the show, you can click on that merchandise tab, and that's where you're going to find our classic logo t-shirt, our Pride logo t-shirt, all of our special event t-shirts, and the gimmicks you've come to know and love from the Renegades of Puck. Socks, wall art, throw pillows, bed sets, it doesn't matter. We've got it available in our online store. We've sold out so that you can buy in. We sure would appreciate anyone picking up some merchandise. Social media is of critical importance to this independent hockey operation, and you can help us out by the following ways. Give us a like, give us a subscription, give us a follow, leave a comment, or share a link. You can do that on any of the following platforms. On social media, you can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can, of course, find us on YouTube, and thank you so much to all of our brand new subscribers. You can find our live behind-the-scenes feed on Twitch. If there's any second takes, mistakes, or other information, sometimes we do some bonus coverage on that channel. You'll find it right there. As a matter of fact, that's happening right over there at this point in time. You can also find the podcast on a number of different platforms, whether it's Spotify, Stitcher, Google, or Amazon. We are available just about everywhere. Just search for Renegades of Puck on your preferred platform and start listening for free today. We sure do appreciate each and every one of you for helping us already eclipse last year's show replay total thanks to the Full Press NHL Network. Venmo, you can become a partner of the show, or you can become a sponsor of the show by just going to Venmo and searching Renegades Puck or scanning the QR code that's currently on your screen right now. Stick taps, love, and respect to each and every one of you generous Renegades out there that has helped us out with donations throughout the seasons. It allowed us to upgrade all of our equipment behind the scenes, including the camera and the lighting and the microphone even. So we sure do appreciate each and every one of you. Now, before we get started on No Half Step in Hockey coverage, just one more thing. It is of critical importance that you come and join us for Home Base Freakout 2. Coming up on March the 24th, Tailgate Brewery on Music Row. Last year, hundreds of Renegades descended on Music Row, and we had a fantastic time celebrating everything that's great about our hockey community. We sure would appreciate if each and every one of you could come on out. There's no cover charge. It's all ages, and everyone is welcome. Just bring a great positive attitude and enthusiasm for the great and glorious game that we all love. Come on out and have some fun. We'll have some prizes. We'll have some giveaways. We'll be announcing lots more details about the event coming up over the next 3 weeks leading up to the event. But again, March 24th, Tailgate Brewery on Music Row, Home Base Freakout 2. It's our annual celebration of all things that are incredible and great about hockey. We'll have a brand new beer on tap that night. We'll have frozen drinks. We'll have all kinds of great things happening. You know how the Renegades do it. When they open the doors and throw a party, it's usually an incredible time. We cannot wait to see each and every one of you out there. So please join us today at Tailgate Brewery. After all, we have a little bit of experience at doing this and packing the house. Now, I know it's time for the No Half Step in Hockey coverage, so let me deliver the goods. It's time for operation number 724. That's right. It's up there. Operation number 724, show 724 for the Renegades of Puck. And at this moment in hockey history, the Nashville Predators currently find themselves in fifth place in the Central Division. They have now skated in 60 games this season. They have a record of 31-23 6, 68 points on the road, which is where their next game will take place. They have a record of 15-12-3. That's actually quite a respectable road record. 175 goals scored, 176 goals given up. That's a goal differential of -1. Now, standings become critically important at this time of year. So before we get into the matchup between the Nashville Predators and the Vancouver Canucks, which is the Preds' next stop on this lengthy road trip, let's talk about not only the Central Division, but now let's start talking about the wild card race as well, because well, the Nashville Predators may have dismantled largely the core of their team and replaced their general manager in the last week, but they are trending in a positive direction as far as points gained in the standings and as far as where they sit in the race. So at this moment in time, let's talk about the Central Division first. The Dallas Stars continue sitting in first place with 81 points. Minnesota is at 76. Winnipeg is at 74. Now that is the automatic playoff qualified teams at this moment in the Central Division. The Colorado Avalanche still very much in the race with 73 points. The Nashville Predators with 68 points. So the Preds sit 5 points behind Colorado and 6 points behind Winnipeg for an automatic qualifying spot from the Central Division. St. Louis, Arizona, Chicago wrap up the rest of the division. Now, The wild card race is the Edmonton Oilers in the wild card 1 spot out of the Pacific Division, the Colorado Avalanche out of the Central Division in the wild card 2 spot with 73 points. The Nashville Predators are currently sitting 5 points behind the Colorado Avalanche for that second wild card spot with 22 games to go in the season. We are going to continue tracking it and updating it. Is it unlikely that the Nashville Predators end up making the playoffs this season? Yes, it is. But now that they have decided to go in a new direction, getting the youth and getting these players the experience, well, maybe making a run into the playoffs wouldn't be such a bad thing. How things have changed in just a week's time. So the wild card race, the Predators are currently the first team below the cutoff line and 5 points below that cutoff line. In the automatic spot in the Central Division, they are 6 points behind. Now, let's talk about where the Preds go on this road trip after this. It is Thursday night in Arizona to wrap up the regular season series against the Coyotes. It seems like they played that entire regular season series all in the last couple of weeks. So the Preds, their second visit in a very short amount of time out to Arizona. Saturday in L.A. and then Sunday in Anaheim, and that will finally wrap up this road trip. They'll also wrap up the SEC men's basketball tournament at Bridgestone Arena, which will allow the Preds to get back home on the 14th of March to face off against the Detroit Red Wings, and on the 16th also at home against the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, this will be the final game between the Nashville Predators and the Vancouver Canucks coming up. Third of 3 meetings. Let's go back and talk about the previous 2. It was the 5th of November when the Nashville Predators scored a 4-3 victory in the shootout in Vancouver. UC Saros, heavy workload in that game, 42 out of 45. It was Gross getting the call-up and also scoring 2 goals. Nino Niederreiter, a goal and assist for 2 points, but he will not be able to repeat that performance in this particular game. On the 21st of February, the Nashville Predators, another shootout victory, this time 5-4, this time at Bridgestone Arena. UC Saros, another heavy workload day, 35 out of 39. Goals scored by Smith, Tomasino, Granlund, and Niederreiter. That's going to cause some complications because 2 of those players are no longer a part of the team. So the Nashville Predators in 2 games against the Vancouver Canucks have secured 2 victories, both in the shootout, and they have secured 4 out of 4 points, outscoring the Vancouver Canucks 9-7. For the Nashville Predators, they do have a significant amount of names on the injured list at this time. Philip Forsberg is still listed as day-to-day. Parsonen is still listed as day-to-day. We do not know about Philip Tomasino, left tonight's game early due to injury. We do know that Alex Carrier is now officially out 4 to 6 weeks, which is effectively the remainder of the season, and Ryan Johansson is on injured reserve, as well as Mark Borowiecki. Now, the Vancouver Canucks are the Nashville Predators' next opponent, and they've been playing better hockey as of late. Overall, 25, 32, and 5, 55 points has them 6th overall in the Pacific Division. A home record of 12, 17, and 1, a minus 34 on the goal differential. Let's take a look at their most recent stretch of hockey. Let's take a look back at 5 games. On the 23rd of February is a 3-2 overtime win at St. Louis. Followed that up on the 25th with a 3-1 loss at the Boston Bruins. On the 27th of February, 5-4 overtime win at Dallas. On the March the 2nd, a 2-1 loss versus Minnesota, and most recently a 4-1 win versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. Demko gets the victory in net, 36 out of 37. Now, how do these 2 teams stack up? Well, for the Vancouver Canucks, they have maybe some better statistical metrics and categories than you might expect. That's why we review, recap, and discuss all of these different numbers. In the goals for category, Vancouver, impressive number, 3.32 per game, is 10th best in the NHL, while the Preds sit at 2.87 per game. That is 25th overall in the NHL. In the goals against category now, Vancouver might score a lot, 3.32, but they also give up a lot, 3.89. That is 31st overall in the NHL, while the Preds are giving up 2.92, 12th overall in the NHL. So look at that. The Preds goals for and goals against is such a narrow margin, 2.87, 2.92, 0.05 goals is the differential for the Preds on the season. They've only given up 1 more goal than they've scored on the season, so that makes perfect sense. Now, when it comes to shots, for 20th in the NHL is where Vancouver sits in the NHL rankings, 30.4 per game on net. The Preds also generating 30.4 per game on net, so the 2 teams statistically tied in that metric. Shots against, now this is a very different category. The Vancouver Canucks are 17th in the NHL, giving up 31.4 per game, while the Preds are giving up 33.5 per game. That's 26th in the NHL, and they have just given up so many shots against UC Saros when he's been in net this season. That's what's allowed him to break multiple franchise records this season for saves and facing shots. A power play, the Nashville Predators are 24th in the NHL. 19.2% is their power play rate. The Vancouver Canucks are 23.1%. They have a top 10 power play, rated 9th overall, 48 out of 208 opportunities on the season. When it comes to the penalty kill, though, the Vancouver Canucks are dead last in the NHL, 32nd overall, 67.7% kill rate. They've given up 60 power play goals against on the season. The Nashville Predators are 13th best penalty kill in the league, 81.2% kill rate, 38 power play goals against on the season. Now, I did something different with the top 5 scorers on these teams going into this particular preview, because now that we are free and clear of the NHL trade deadline, it's time to start focusing on the players that are on the roster. So I have gone ahead and taken the players out that have been removed. So for the Nashville Predators, I will no longer report Niederreiter in the stats. I will no longer report Mikael Granlund. I am just going to move on and start talking about the players that now are currently on the roster and in the top 5. So I want to go ahead and clarify that, because that's a little bit different than what we normally do. So many players are no longer a part of this Nashville Predators roster that it's almost nonsensical to go ahead and continue telling you that Niederreiter or Mikael Granlund are in the top such and such in whatever. So I've also taken Ryan Johansson out of the statistical categories for now, just because he is out for sure for the remainder of the season. So just so you understand where we're going forward with the stats. Now, for the Nashville Predators, let's get to those individual statistic leaders. The captain, Roman Josi, has 17 goals and 39 assists for 56 points on the season. Matt Duchene has 19 goals and 31 assists for 50 points. Philip Forsberg's at 19 goals and 23 assists for 42 points. Philip Forsberg, of course, still out injured day-to-day. Glass is 8 and 16 for 24. Colton Sissons, 10 goals and 13 assists for 23 points. Tommy Novak, 9 goals and 14 assists for 23 points. UC Saros in net now, 24, 17, and 5. 917 save percentage, a 2.75 goals against average. And again, after the cold start that he had to begin the season, these numbers are just simply incredible. Over on the Vancouver Canucks, the home team stat ledger, Pettersson leads the team, 29 goals, 49 assists, 78 points. He is one of the more dynamic young players around the NHL that I wish the NHL put some more time and money into promoting. Hughes is very much in that same category. 5 goals, 54 assists on the season from the blue line, 59 points. Miller, 21 and 35 for 56. Kuzmenko, 29 and 26 for 55. And Bosser, 12 and 29 for 41. In net, Thatcher Demko, a record of 5, 11, and 2 after his most recent game, and 8.93 save percentage, 3.66 goals against average. The Nashville Predators looking to go in Vancouver for the regular season series sweep against the Canucks. 5th place in the Central versus 6th place in the Pacific. Nashville Predators have been hot as of late, but the Canucks also putting up some good victories against Toronto and against Dallas. Those are 2 big-time opponents that are definitely going to be going to the playoffs. So this game cannot be taken lightly, but I do expect it to be a very competitive game. The Nashville Predators may find themselves in a shootout for the 3rd time against the Vancouver Canucks this season. It would be interesting to see who they would choose to go in the shootout with so many new faces in the lineup. We've got so much more coming up. We got the Rebirth Sports full game recap. We've got the Renegades of Puck. We've got analysis. We've got box score. We've got stats. We got all that good stuff coming up. So stay tuned. Renegades of Puck podcast back after this.
Hockey players are as unique as the game itself, and your uniform should be tailored to fit you. Rebirth Sports is your sports apparel tailor. From shells, bags, warm-ups, hats, hoodies, branding, and more, let Rebirth Sports be your custom hockey tailor.
And don't forget to tell them they do more than just hockey.
Rebirth Sports on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Rebirth Sport, a match made in hockey.
It's now time for the Rebirth Sports full game recap. We go all the way back to March the 4th of the year 2023 when the Nashville Predators were in Chicago to face off against the Blackhawks. John Hines deploys his post-trade deadline lines in the following way. Leonard, Glass, and Duchene, Sherwood, Novak, and Evangelista, Asplund, Jankowski, and Tomasino, Trennan, Sissons, and Smith, Josi and Fabro, McDonough, and Barry, Luzon and Foote make up your defensive pairings. UC Saros gets the start in net. We are just 37 seconds into this clean sheet in Chicago, and it's Jones with his 8th goal of the season, giving the Blackhawks a 1-0 lead. It was a redirect off of Athanasio's pass. It was the first shot on goal of the game, and it was also a perfect redirect into the net, putting the Blackhawks on the board in the lead, 1-0. 1:53 in the first period. Saros comes up with a save on Radish. 3:50 in the first. Saros comes up with a save on Dickinson. 4:34. Mrazek comes up with a save on Luzon. Then 5:11. Mrazek again coming up with a save on Glass this time. 7:58, our first big play of the game. Dickinson's off the box. 2 minutes for boarding on Luzon. Definitely a worthy call right here. It'll be Philip Tomasino cashing in for the Nashville Predators on the power play. His second goal of the season, tying the game up at 1 apiece. It was a rebound put back while he was fighting through traffic, going to the hard area, scoring a greasy goal. Great to see Philip Tomasino getting rewarded. 1-1 hockey game. 11:10 of the first period. Mrazek comes up with a save on Sherwood. 12:36 of the first. England's off to the box. 2 minutes for boarding. Trennan also off to the box. 2 minutes for roughing, or more like retaliation, I should say. It's going to be a 4-on-4. This particular boarding play by England takes place on Tomasino. Tomasino would leave the game. He would not return. UC Saros comes up with a save on Gutman during the shorthanded scenario. Anderson would go on to hit the crossbar. Looked like it may have also possibly glanced off of UC Saros' helmet. The Nashville Predators come up with the big penalty kill right here in the 4-on-4. It wasn't even a penalty kill, but it seemed like it. 4-on-4 scenario was dominated by the Chicago Blackhawks. 17:53 of the first period. Saros comes up with a save on Radish at the end of the first period. Both teams with 9 shots on goal. Both teams with 1 goal apiece. 2:09 into the second period. Radish hits the post. 2:15. Saros comes up with a save on Caleb Jones. 5:24. Saros a save on Radish. It is the Chicago Blackhawks just absolutely dominating the early parts of the second period. 6:39. Sherwood's off the box. 2 minutes for interfering, and Saros have to come with a save on Johnson. Solid PK overall. 10:28. We would see Barry jam crash attempt have to be stopped by Mrazek. So at 10:28 of the second period is when the Nashville Predators are awarded their first shot on goal of the period. So you see Saros doing a good job keeping the Nashville Predators in it in the first 10 minutes here. 12:08 of the second period. Barry's got his first goal as a Nashville Predator, but it's 11th goal overall on the season, and it was a wrist shot from out high. It deflects off of the D and goes into the net. Barry gets the Nashville Predators ahead in this game by 1. Now the Preds lead 2-1. 15 minutes even. Mrazek comes up with a save on Tommy Novak. 15:01. Gutman's off the box. 2 minutes for hooking. Evangelista was crashing the slot after Novak's shot that Mrazek had to come up with a save. Not much happening on the power play for the Nashville Predators. So we go to 17:59 of the second. That's when Mrazek comes up with a save on Fabro. 19:49. Mrazek comes up with a save on Foot. The Preds just had significant and intense pressure going for a solid 40 seconds here as they were waiting on a delayed penalty call, but they maintained possession all the way until the buzzer at the end of the period, getting one more good chance right at the buzzer. At the 20-minute mark is when that penalty can finally be called, and it's going to be on England. 2 minutes for holding, but we'll have to wait till the third period for that power play to begin for the Nashville Predators. Both teams now at 17 shots on goal after 2 periods. Carryover of the full 2 minutes into the third period, but the Preds would be unable to generate any shots on goal during this full 2-minute power play on the clean sheet. 2:55 of the third period. UC Saros comes up with a save on Radish with the mask. 4:03. Saros a save on Jones. 4:26. Mrazek a save on Sherwood after a turnover by his D. 6:08. Mrazek a save on Sisson. 7:08. Mrazek a save on Foot with the glove. But at 9:24, it's Tommy Novak's off to the box. 2 minutes for hooking. Saros has to come up with a save on Athanasio. Saros then has to come up with a save on Gutman, and the Preds are able to survive. 12:42 of the third period. Mrazek comes up with a save on Asplund. 14:54. The captain, Romagnosi, is off to the box along with Jones. 2 minutes each. It's going to be a 4-on-4 scenario. Romagnosi was very displeased about being hit up high, and he ends up retaliating both off to the box. At the 18-minute mark of the third period, we see the empty net scenario. 1 minute later at 19 even, it would be Saros coming up with a save on Jones through traffic, and with just 30 seconds remaining in the game, it would be Colton Sissons coming up with the empty net goal, his 10th of the season from just outside the blue line. That would give the Nashville Predators a 3-1 victory. That would also secure the Nashville Predators this victory on the road trip. They would be outshot 28-25 overall in this game, but for the Preds, they did what they had to do. It wasn't wasn't the most exciting, the most entertaining, or the most high-volume game, but for the Nashville Predators, they went in Chicago, they picked up 2 points, and they get out of there with the victory. They are continuing to be relevant when it comes to the wild card and the divisional race, even though they have dismantled a large part of their core and have several key players, especially from the offensive side of things, out injured at this time. For the Nashville Predators, they secure a victory. They move on with the road trip. Now they're headed off to Vancouver, then Arizona, LA, and Anaheim before wrapping up the typical every year March SEC basketball tournament road trip for the Nashville Predators. So good job picking up those 2 points. A good job by the Nashville Predators stepping up, and UC Saros once again comes through big time for the Preds. We've got full analysis on the Renegades of Puck coming up next, and also Brian Baston jumping in the trenches with the Renegades tonight. We'll be back right here on the Renegades of Puck podcast.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm Tracy, owner-operator of Strong Style Fitness. And that's me and my training assistant, Rizzo. And we are here to bring you fitness that meets you where you are by offering circuit classes, bar-inspired classes, Tabata workouts, boot camps, guided stretching, and more, all taught by a certified personal trainer, me. To learn more, go to our website, strongstylefit.com. Subscribe on YouTube at Strong Style Fitness. Follow on social media at Strong Style Fit. But most importantly, let's get you moving. It doesn't matter if it's your first workout or you've been doing it for years. Strong Style Fitness has the workout that meets you on your journey and helps you along the path to a happier, healthier life. I understand where you've been, what you were going through, and where you were going, and I want to take you there. We'll see you on the mat. Mwah.
UC Saros was 27 out of 28 in this game, and aside from the first shot that ended up in the back of the net, a perfect redirect top of the crease, he was perfect after that moment the rest of the way, so making 26 more saves in this game after that moment, and it was UC Saros coming out with another strong performance on the season now, 2.75 goals against average, 917 save percentage, and 24 victories on the season. Remember, he's been on a team that has been largely out of the playoff picture this entire season, hovering in 5th and 6th place a lot in the Central Division throughout the entirety of the year. And UC Saros, despite a very, very rough first 10 games of the season, has just been otherworldly ever since. And I wouldn't doubt if he gets some recognition now down the stretch of the final 20 games for potential Vezina finalist. He's putting up some pretty significant numbers on a team that's probably not going to end up making the playoffs. So for UC Saros, another outstanding night in net. Of course, it's what we have come to expect. And just a quick side note and commentary, I am happy that the Nashville Predators did not trade UC Saros. I understand the wealth of return that would have come back with UC Saros. Askarov will be ready, and he is going to be the future. By the way, had his first fight in the AHL for the Milwaukee Admirals just last night. He is continuing to just absolutely take over the AHL, and eventually he's going to do that in the NHL. But for now, UC Saros is a critical and important part of this team, and he's going to help the Nashville Predators be at least moderately successful regardless of who's out there in front of him. I like the direction the team is going in, and UC Saros is going to get an opportunity to put up lots of wins. And if the Predators decide, and when they decide it's time to make that change and move on from UC Saros, probably in another year or so when he gets closer to his contract being up, well, then UC Saros will probably still bring back a considerable wealth of the Preds. But for now, UC Saros is starting goaltender of the Nashville Predators. He's doing an outstanding job, and his numbers absolutely reflect tonight's performance was outstanding. Yakov Trenin, 2 assists in this game. That leads the Preds in total scoring, 5 points last 5 games. And I've got to tell you, I think you're seeing it. Yakov Trenin is at a different level than he has been. We've seen Yakov Trenin be a part of the herd line. We've seen him bring the physical element of the play. We've seen him buckle in the past. Zdeno Chara. We've seen him do a lot of good things out there, but now we're starting to see Yakov Trenin really step his overall total game up. I think Yakov Trenin is a very, very impressive total player who has not yet shown all of his skill sets, and maybe this is his emergence from that cocoon to butterfly stage. We're going to find out the rest of the season because he's going to get plenty of opportunities. 17-12 in time on ice tonight. And again, just really appreciate the new detail and level of what Yakov Trenin is bringing to this Nashville Predators team. You have got to talk about Tyson Barrie. First goal as a Nashville Predator, 4 shots on goal in this game, working hard, going hard to the net, being taken down in the low slot area and getting credited with a shot on goal right there with the jam attempt and then scoring a goal later on. So far, he's been very smooth, 1939 total time on ice, and he's going to fit in perfectly. Obviously, at least for the remainder of the season, the Nashville Predators have every intention of him remaining here, and he's going to be on a second pair with McDonough. That absolutely works for me at this moment in time, and he's got a year left on his contract, so the Nashville Predators may decide to continue going with Barrie. They will need some experience on D moving forward, and when I look at the D core as it is now, with Fabro getting his new contract, Yossi, Fabro, McDonough, and Barrie all under contract, Luzon and Foote also under contract, that is looking like the Preds have already reformed their D-core going into next year. Now, we'll have to find out who exactly is going to be the 7th and 8th D. Carrier, of course, is going to be back in the fold, and we'll find out who the 8th D is going to be next year coming into training camp. But for the Nashville Predators, good job picking up Barrie in the Ekholm trade. He pays off tonight, picking up a goal in this game. Philip Tomasino, besides the injury is very difficult. The goal that he scored, great job by Phil Tomasino right there, going to the hard areas, fighting off and fighting through the defensive traffic and getting rewarded with the goal. It's unfortunate that he was injured in this game. It was a hit from behind. He attempted to come out, take one more shift. Obviously, nobody was comfortable with that, so he left and only skated .454 in total time on ice. Again, very unfortunate for the Nashville Predators. Philip Tomasino has certainly been playing some very good hockey. Hopefully, we get reports very soon about how long he is going to be unavailable. Asplund making his debut as a Nashville Predator, delivered 5 hits in this game. That would go on to lead the Nashville Predators in hits. He'd also skate .1054 in time on ice, 2 shots on net. And, he wasn't remarkable because his first game, probably just trying to figure out where he is at this point in time. But it was noticeable at times, and I look forward to continuing and tracking another member of the new youth movement. Of course, Asplund was brought back as part of the most recent trades that have been going on for the Nashville Predators. Now, I want to talk to Brian Baston. Brian's been out of the trenches for a couple of days. He was a little bit under the weather. He was day-to-day, but now he's back. He's got tons of content, tons of information, lots of numbers. That's why we've moved him up to role of Forecheck 1 tonight in this. So Analyst 1, Brian Baston from ontheforecheck.com. He's taking over for us right now. I'm going to turn it over. You can find him on Twitter at Brian Baston. You can watch him right now at Renegades of Puck TV.
Thanks a lot, Charlie. Well, it's always good to beat Chicago, isn't it? I'm Brian Baston at the Renegades Analytics Desk, and your Nashville Predators survived a Seth Jones goal just 37 seconds into the game to beat that team up north by a score of 3-1, winning their 6th game out of the last 8. Nashville's roster is already depleted from the trade deadline and injuries to Forsberg, Johansson, and Carrier, and they lost another player tonight in young Phil Tomasino, who scored his 2nd goal of the season in just 10 games before being boarded on a nasty hit from Andreas Englund in the first period. Tomasino was just one of the many young players on Nashville's roster to start tonight, and their sudden elevation to a starting role in the NHL is the topic of tonight's One Big Stat. Nashville had 12 of their 18 skaters appear in over 41 games in the AHL over the last 5 years. Leading everyone was Kiefer Sherwood, who in those last 5 years, and despite getting his first chance back in the Global Series, has played in 175 AHL games in the last half-decade. Tommy Novak, who is quickly making a case for a permanent spot on the roster, has played in 157, and new arrival Rasmus Asplund from Buffalo has 111. In total, those 12 players have 1,212 total AHL appearances in the last 5 years. And for those of you counting at home, that's 2/3 of Nashville's skaters that played tonight with an average of 101 AHL games under their belt. Now, these young guns have diligently worked on their games in the last few years in the minor leagues, but with the rebuild finally underway in Smashville, they are forced to close the book on that part of their past because their dreams of a future in the NHL has quickly become the present. And that's tonight's One Big Stat.
The digital environment can be quite intimidating, time-consuming, and cumbersome, especially with all those other areas that need attention at your business, and that's why Stripe Digital Solutions is here to help. I know because that's exactly what Stripe Digital Solutions did for me and the Renegades of Puck. From designing my home website and helping me create my merchandise to special event posters, brand building, and social media management. But it's not just that, it's so much more. Stripe Digital Solutions has helped me every step of the way. From startup to full-time operation, Stripe Digital Solutions has been there to assist and advise every single step of the journey. In today's fast-paced world, the path to success is having a strong digital partner, and nobody is better in the trenches than Brandy and Stripe Digital Solutions. Get the solution before it's even a problem with Stripe Digital Solutions. Taking a look inside the box, score your goal scores. Colton Sissons with the empty net goal. Tomasino also with a goal, power play goal in this game. Barry picks up his first goal as a Nashville Predator. That's your goal scores. 2 from the forwards, 1 from the D side of things. When it comes to assists, Yakov trending with 2 in this game. That paced the Nashville Predators. Cole Smith, Sherwood, and Novak. Listen to that list of names picking up points right here for the Nashville Predators. McDonough on the defensive side of things, he also picks up an assist in this game. When it comes to shots on goal, it was Barry with 4 on net to pace the Nashville Predators. Block shots, Ryan McDonough had 3 in this game. Nashville Predators also got 2 from Cal Foote, 1 from several other players. When in the hits category, Luzon and Asplund with 5 apiece in this game to lead the Nashville Predators. Good to see. Sherwood also chipped in with 3 hits in this game. The captain, Romiosi, also had 3 hits and got himself an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. He did not like getting roughed up in the corner. When it comes to time on ice, highly unfortunate to see Philip Tomasino only be able to create .454 due to injury. That was, of course, the least amount of time on ice for anybody on the roster. And just talking about the time on ice a little bit more extended here, Asplund, his first opportunity to skate with the Nashville Predators, he's out there skating on the third line, and he got 10:54 in total time on ice, 26 seconds shorthanded, 2 seconds of power play time. So not a lot of special teams work, but got out there, delivered some hits, and did not make any critical mistakes. Now, your ice time leaders in this game, Matt Duchene leads for the Preds, 21:52. His game has been upped a level as of late, and that's being rewarded obviously by John Hines. So 21:52 overall ice time leader for the Nashville Predators comes from the defensive side of things, and of course it's the captain. 23-24 in total time on ice. But did want to mention Cal Foote gets 14:05 in incredibly valuable time on ice in this game for the Nashville Predators, and Barry 19:39 in only his second game as a Nashville Predator, already comfortable enough to skate nearly 20 minutes in this game. I'm Crazy Charlie Saunier, captain of the Renegades of Puck. I'm also tired of the cold, tired of the dark, and tired of being landlocked. I'm also willing to bet that I'm not the only one who could use some sun, fun, and time in paradise with friends. That's exactly why I called our great friend Pete Weber. He told me, call Ships and Trips Travel, and now we're all going to Mexico. That's right, Renegades of Puck, July 15th to the 20th of 2023. Dreams Vallarta Resort in Puerto Vallarta is the destination to hang with Pete Weber in paradise. To join Pete and the Renegades of Puck in Puerto Vallarta, go to www.shipsandtripstravel.com. That's shipsandtripstravel.com, and just click on the ROP on vacation tab. Don't stay landlocked. Join the Renegades of Puck in paradise, July 15th to the 20th, 2023 in Puerto Vallarta. Pete Weber, the Renegades of Puck, and you. It's time to ditch those skates for flip-flops and fun in the sun. You know, it's really simple at this point in time. The Nashville Predators find themselves in 5th place in the Central Division. They've dismantled the core. They've already gone ahead and announced the plans to replace their general manager at the end of this year's NHL calendar. So for the Preds, there's only one thing left to do. Go ahead and just keep playing hockey. Everybody seems to be enjoying what's been going on with the Nashville Predators over the last week. They've been going out there. They've been putting in an effort. Sure, they dropped a game against the Pittsburgh Penguins, but people were excited to see the level of effort and the amount of fun that the youth was bringing to the game. The amount of speed that they are bringing to the game has been obvious and noticeable. The level of enthusiasm has been noticeable. And for the Nashville Predators, just keep going out there and playing hockey. If you find yourself in a playoff spot, that's awesome. But that's not what you should be out there worrying about right now. Just keep going, keep playing, keep meshing, keep gaining some chemistry, keep merging this team over the next 22 games. You have an opportunity to get a jump start on next season and start developing some chemistry, some lines, and start getting some guys on the same page going into training camp in the next calendar for the Nashville Predators. The Predators are doing a great job getting ahead of the curve right now, and they're managing to also pick up victories while they're doing so. This road trip from hell continues on. They'll have to deal now with Vancouver, then Arizona, LA, and Anaheim. None of these teams, except for LA, are particularly great in the standings, but the Nashville Predators can't take anything for granted. They need to go in there and take care of that business. If they are given the opportunity to continue winning, well, they'll find themselves very much in a playoff potential spot. The wild card looks like it would be the most obvious, but the division is not completely out of race, with the Winnipeg Jets only being 6 points ahead of the Nashville Predators and playing 3 more games at this point than the Preds. As a matter of fact, all 3 teams at the top of the division have skated in more games than Nashville. Just keep playing hockey, keep developing that chemistry, and keep bringing that enthusiasm that's going to bring the fan base back to the rink. Trust me, people will start showing up and being more and more enthusiastic the more they get to see these young players. Evangelista himself is worth the price of admission. You put the entire group together, you back them up with a couple of really strong, well-known veterans like Philip Forsberg, Roman Josi, and UC Saros going forward into next season, and this could be a very enjoyable, fun team to continue covering. Just keep playing hockey, we'll keep watching hockey, and of course, the Renegades of Puck will keep covering hockey. We sure to appreciate each and every one of you out there. I appreciate your viewership, I appreciate your time, and most importantly, I appreciate you. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier. Operation 724 is in the books. Follow us on social media. Thank you to everybody over at the Full Press NHL Network. We sure do appreciate all of the promotion you're giving us here as the Full Press Predators podcast, better known as the Renegades of Puck. Stick taps, love, and respect. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier.